If you watched our last video on adult vacations in Hawaii, you may have decided something important, that the type of vacation you can have in Ko Olina on the island of Oahu, Hawaii, is how you want to spend your holiday here. How such a holiday feels in Ko Olina that is typically very different than a vacation in Waikiki. Quieter, more spread out, more relaxing, where you can and truly exhale, less busy. And for a lot of adults, that sounds exactly right. But then the next question becomes, if you stay in Ko Olina, what's the absolute best or right way to experience it? And that's where Aulani, a Disney resort and spa, usually comes up in the discussion. But also in discussion, Aulani brings a lot of assumptions with it about Disney, about crowds, about young children, and about cost. Hi, I'm Dan from Nancy and Dan Travel, where we share what travel actually feels like for adults. And yes, Nancy and I have stayed here at Aulani several times, in different types of rooms, on different trips, at different times of the year. So what we want to do in this video is walk you through what a vacation actually feels like for adults and older travelers to stay here, so you can decide if this is the right fit for the kind of Hawaii trip you want to experience. Once you start looking at Ko Olina, the Aulani Resort is the first place you'll see. It's right here on one of the lagoons. It's one of the most well-known resorts in the area, and it's also one of the most talked about. But what makes this decision possibly tricky is that Aulani is not just another beachfront hotel in Hawaii. It's a resort where you're expected to spend time, not just to sleep, not as a place to return to after a day trip only to leave early the next morning on another day trip to another part of Oahu. You can, of course, yet you would be missing what makes Aulani unique amongst vacation resorts in Hawaii, and missing out on the relaxing, tranquil, memorable experiences available to you here during your stay. And depending on how you travel, that can either feel like exactly what you want or something that doesn't quite fit. The biggest shift here for adults wishing for an immersive, relaxing Hawaiian holiday is not just Aulani Disney Resort and Spa. It's about Ko Olina itself. This is not like Waikiki. There is no constant movement. There are no sidewalks packed with thousands of tourists. There's no stepping outside and having everything right there. Instead, things are quieter, more spread out, and your day tends to stay centered right here. And for a lot of adults, that's exactly the point. And this is something you really feel once you arrive, because your trip starts to change. You're not heading out first thing in the morning most mornings, and you're not trying to fit everything into the day. You're not constantly coming and going. Instead, you settle in. And the question becomes less about, what are we going to do today? And more about, how do we want today to feel? And this is where Aulani tends to surprise many adults and older travelers. Because if you hear Disney Resort in Hawaii, it's easy to picture something that feels very Disney. Characters everywhere, busy, maybe even a little overwhelming like Disney theme parks. But that's not what this is. Disney made a very deliberate choice here. This resort leans heavily into Hawaii and the Hawaiian culture. In the architecture, the artwork, the storytelling, it all reflects local culture. Even the rooms are more understated than you might expect. Yet, there are Disney touches. And yes, you will see a few characters here and there depending upon where you are in the resort, but it does not look or feel like a Disney theme park. And they add a little personality without taking over. And what Nancy and I found is, both Disney fans and non-Disney focused guests coexist here very comfortably. It actually works very well and does not take away from the calm, relaxing experience most adults are looking for. It feels like an immersive vacation resort that just happens to be run by Disney. And then there's what your days actually feel like at Aulani. And for Nancy and I, adults who enjoy our time at Aulani enough to make a point to come back here on most returning vacations to Hawaii, this is the type of Hawaiian holiday we have come to appreciate more and more. This is where everything really comes together, because a day here can be incredibly simple. You move between the pools and the whirlpools, the beach, the lounger in the shade or the sun, maybe something quick from the Ulu Café, and you just settle into that rhythm. There's no pressure to do more. One thing that makes a big difference for adults is that there are spaces here designed just for that. The Wailana pool area shown here is for 18 years of age and over is just one example, creating a quieter, more relaxed, more tranquil area of the resort. And it gives you a place where you can really settle in. The two-tiered Infinity Edge Whirlpool spas shown here at Aulani Point has outstanding views of the lagoon. It's another area that's only for those 18 years of age and older. And for a lot of adults, this is where the experience starts to shift, because instead of moving around all day, you can create a space that's yours. We've done that here with what are called Casabellas. Both the Casabellas and the Cabanas are an additional cost, as you see here. But for a lot of adults, they change how the day feels in a really noticeable way. Nancy and I have experienced two different areas in Casabellas here at Aulani, a Disney resort and spa. This area shown here in front of the Ama Ama restaurant, where the amount of shade you receive lessens in the afternoon. And then this is the much more secluded area, over to the side a bit, where the amount of shade is continuous throughout the day. Both areas give you the opportunity to reserve a shaded place to sit, a more comfortable setup, where towels are provided, as well as cast members starting around 11 a.m. who will come by periodically offering to take and deliver your beverage service orders, which are not included in the rental price of your Casabella. And what really changes is that you stop thinking about where to go to next. You just stay, unwind from your daily stresses, and start to really enjoy being in paradise. You'll also see people take that even further with full cabanas. A few different examples shown here for you. More private, more space, more included amenities. A different kind of experience entirely. And what's interesting is you'll see these used all over the resort in different ways, depending upon the kind of day people want. And the nice thing is, you don't have to do any of that to enjoy it. It's done for you. Yet, a Casabella or cabana and their rental costs are not needed at all for adults to enjoy a relaxing, memorable experience here at Aulani. The Wailana pool area mentioned previously and shown here one more time already has plenty of seating. It's for those 18 years of age and over, and we found it to be a really comfortable place to spend the day. There are also cast members who come by to take drink and food orders from the bar, so even without upgrading, it is still a very relaxed experience. One thing that initially surprised us during our first stay at Aulani is that even though Ko Olina feels more relaxed, you are not isolated. Right across the street, there are places like the Monkey Pod restaurant shown here, where we have enjoyed a dinner most of our trips here. Swordfish sandwich. And Nancy's having swordfish macadamia nut custard. All kinds of good stuff. Banana cream. Our newest discovery, but already known to many and shown here again, is Eggs and Things, where we had a wonderful breakfast in its outdoor seating area one morning during our last visit. Ahi, Eggs Benedict on the side, with pancakes. What are you having again, Nancy?
Crab eggs Benedict.
The ABC store. We have bought a few souvenirs, sunblocks, and snacks with a greater selection and at a lower price than what is sold at Aulani. And don't forget about the restaurants at the Four Seasons next door, or the Marriott Vacation Club's Beach Club Resort at a lagoon next door to Aulani that are of course available to anyone, reservations required. So you can stay in the calm environment of Ko Olina without feeling cut off. The food here at Aulani tends to be very easy. We've had some great meals right here at the resort, including sitting at Off the Hook, which is a mostly open-air casual table service restaurant shown here, with, from a few of its tables, a view of the lagoon. Other times, it's something simple from Ulu Café, which is where you will find the beverage refill stations should you purchase a refillable beverage mug. The location of the Ulu Café makes it very convenient when relaxing on a lounger at the Wailana adults-only pool. It is very convenient to grab another cup of coffee in the morning or soda from the beverage stations, or to grab a snack inside, or even order a light dinner, as Nancy and I did on our last stay with this pizza that was more yummy than we had anticipated. And then walk a few paces back to your lounger, or maybe even take it back to your room and relax on the deck. If you want something more structured, the restaurant called Makahiki, the Bounty of the Islands, offers a full breakfast experience with really good food options for adults. And yes, a few Disney characters at breakfast. But it still feels comfortable for adults with a menu that is really adult-focused. There are also smaller things here that most people don't plan for. We've done one of the free Makahiki guided tours available to guests. We did the Art of Aulani Resort Tour, where the local guide highlighted some of the extensive collection of contemporary Hawaiian art and how much is built right into the buildings and the structures throughout the resort. There is also a nature and wildlife walking tour available. It adds yet another layer to the Hawaiian experience for adults here that you might not expect at first. There's also a full spa here, with a range of treatments and experiences that add yet another layer to the resort. It's another example of how this isn't just built around pools and activities, but around creating a place where adults can really relax. And evenings here tend to be pretty low-key. For us, that often means heading over to the Olelo room shown here.
Again, folks, please sit back, relax, and enjoy some Hawaiian food tonight. I'm going to share some of our freebies with you guys.
A drink, selection of delicious appetizers and desserts, live music from local musicians, and just a relaxing way to end the day. And it's something that Nancy and I make a point to come back to on every trip. For many adults and older travelers, this becomes less of a hotel stay and more like living here for a few days, for several days or more, especially if you're staying in one of the villas with more space, a partial or full kitchen, room to spread out. We've done full room tours of these from an adult's perspective here on our travel channel. But what it really changes is how comfortable it is to stay. And even some of the practical things, like having access to self-service guest laundry when you're not staying in a 1, 2, or 3 bedroom villa unit which have their own washer and dryer. It just makes longer stays easier. So the real question is not, is Aulani worth it in our opinion? It's, is this the kind of Hawaii trip you want? If you want a pace where you settle in, where your days are slower, where the beachfront resort is part of the experience, you seek a vacation, then Aulani can be a great fit. But what if you really want is energy, walkability, constant heading out? Then Waikiki might make more sense for you. And neither one is right or wrong. They're just different types of vacations. And that's where the price starts to make more sense, because you're not just paying for a place to sleep with a roof over your head. You're paying for a specific kind of experience. And if that experience matches what you want, it can absolutely be worth it. So is Aulani worth it? We believe it can be, but only if it matches the kind of trip you're looking for. If you want calm, space, a version of Hawaii that feels more relaxed, this can be a really good choice. If this helps you think through whether Aulani is the right fit for your first or your next trip to Hawaii, please give the video a like. It really helps more people find it. And if you enjoy honest, adult-focused travel videos, we'd love to have you subscribe. If you've stayed here at Aulani, especially as an adult, we'd really like to hear what your experience was like. We encourage you to share that in the comments for others. And if you want to see more about what Aulani actually feels like, take a look at this next pair of videos.